Hey, what is up? This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford. I'm Norm, along with Mike. It is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020. August 2nd is fast approaching. That's when the Blue Jackets and Leafs will get started in their best 3 of 5 playoff series as a part of this new world that we are embarking on when it comes to the NHL and all things playoff and Stanley Cup runneth. Mr. A, good morning.
Good morning, Norm. Yeah, we are getting closer. We're getting closer to the teams entering the bubble. And like I mentioned before we started recording, they are erecting fences around the Scotiabank Arena to keep out the throngs and around the Ford Performance Center where a lot of teams are going to practice. So with the sight of that, you know that it's getting closer.
The big hockey tournament will resemble a G7 or a G20 or one of these, big, important international gatherings. Unfortunately, what is about to take place has never happened before. So we're going to see a lot of crazy things. We're going to see a lot of serious security. At the end of the day, guys like you and I just want to see some serious hockey. And how serious it turns out to be remains to be seen. Mike, which team do you think is better built to hit the ground running and get off to a good start in something like this?
Well, normally I would say the Boston Bruins, but when eight or nine players are have missed practice the last couple of days, and there's speculation that one player tested positive, and they're just making sure that the other 7 or 8 or 9 players are not infected. That's going to put them sort of a little behind in terms of ramping up towards playing in the playoffs, but they have the benefit of playing in the round robin games that really don't mean anything for the first week and a half. So all those 4 round robin teams in the East and West have a little bit of an advantage because they can sort of slowly move up towards playing playoff speed. In terms of in the East, I would say Pittsburgh, simply because I think they have an easy first round walk against the hapless Habs. And I know in the West, I mean, it's tough because there's a lot of difficult matchups like Calgary, Winnipeg, and Vancouver, Minnesota in the first round, and Nashville, Arizona. So I tend to think right now in the West, the team that's going to come out of there could be St. Louis again.
Among the Blue Jackets and Leafs, which team do you think is going to get off to a better start? And I know that Sheldon Keefe's experimenting right now with the super line.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews, Tavares, Marner. Is he banking on, that puck drops and it's literally go time when you're playing a best 3 of 5? There really isn't a lot of time to feel things out. And the fact that these teams haven't played in 5-6 months.
Well,
we don't know. We don't know what to expect, Mike. I'm wondering which of these teams you think, if you were a betting man, gets off to the quicker start without any bullshit, any excuse or anything like that. It's just go play hockey. If it's ugly, who gives a shit? Just try to win this thing.
Well, I know that Kevin Allen said when I did a webcast with him a couple weeks ago that when you have a team that is more skilled against a team that's sort of more workmanlike, which is the dynamic you have in this series, that the team with more skill has the edge because it's easier for them to sort of, again, ramp up towards having that high hockey IQ and create offensively, whereas you sort of have to work into being that sort of blue collar team where you're trying to prevent the other team from scoring. I don't know. I look at this series, and I've said this a couple times, that this is a contrasting styles, and the style that Columbus plays is the style that the Leafs have the most trouble with, which is sort of, like I said, blue collar, tough defensively. I heard it described that I think it was Elliot Friedman that said that Columbus doesn't really respect the Leafs in the sense that they respect their skill. They respect their offensive ability of Matthews and Tavares and Marner and everybody else. They don't know whether they have the will to win. And that's the key, because I think we've seen based on the inconsistency that they had during the year and their defensive lapses, that's the big question. Do they have the gravitas? Do they have the guts? Do they have that impetus to be able to carry forth through the playoffs against a team that will try to limit them and make it really tough on them? And that we'll see that over the next couple weeks.
skill over the grind initially, Mike. Skill over the grind initially. But when the grind catches up to the skill, then that skill is not necessarily flattened, but it is tempered.
Mm-hmm.
The Leafs could come out gangbusters and run roughshod over Columbus and win the first series and go on a crazy run, and everyone will say, look, the plan that Kyle Dubas had in place was the right one. But we know quite well that when hockey stopped back in March or whenever it was, the Leafs weren't that good. The Leafs were having a lot of problems. The Leafs certainly weren't the team that we were all hoping they would be. It's because the rest of the league caught up to them. In this circumstance, if the Leafs come out gangbusters, their opponents may not be able to catch up to them again, because this is a restart. And that's what's so intriguing about what's going to take place. It's a cold start for everyone with one exhibition game. But if it's skill versus grind, the skill will win initially until the grind figures out a way to grind that skill down and catch up. This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford. I'm Norm along with Mike. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Do yourself a favor and us a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Like this video. Share what we're doing with your friends. We have so many listeners who don't subscribe, who've come back month over month over month, going on two plus years now. Hit the subscribe button. You know you want to do it. You know you listen to us. We need you. You need us. Let's get into this together. Hit the subscribe button. And Bob might be your uncle. I don't know. You may have an Uncle Bob. Mike, Corey Parrish in community wants to know if Nick Robertson's a lock on that third line in place of Pierre Engvall. The kid's been amazing during this training camp. Mm-hmm. He probably will fit in with the team in some sort of performance role or just watching from the player's box, whichever. I don't know. It's up to Sheldon Keefe. What say you?
I think he's a lock to make the team in terms of being in the bubble with them, but so is Andreas Janssen, who probably won't play for another month or so. So in and of itself, that really is meaningless. Whether he gets into a game, I still question that, because Sheldon Keefe, although, saying that Robertson, he has a great shot, he has played well, he has shown a lot of energy. They've given him an opportunity on the third line with Alex Kerfoot and Kasperi Kapanen, but I think that's been more to get him a look against top line players and to play with top line players, especially on the power play, because he's sat in on the power play a couple times to see what he can do. And Keefe has basically said, the most of the guys in this camp have paid their dues in the minors, have paid their dues in the NHL, and Robertson hasn't. And he admits his skill. He admits that he's got a great shot, but I think he's been, and I think this is the right approach. He's been skeptical about, can this kid handle the situation of a playoff series against a tough opponent? And he talked about, he didn't get his shot off in a couple of the scrimmages. He's been a critic, and I think you have to be like that when it comes to a young guy who hasn't been tested in the crucible of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Like, are the Leafs a wild card or a bottom feeder, just getting in by chance or luck, mm-hmm. and having a bunch of ragtag players who have no business being in this situation and needing this kid from Peterborough to come in and grab them all by the collar collectively and take them on a run? No. But Nick Robertson has no business being a part of this run for any other reason than he is much better than all of these professionals and just should be there because his skill dictates it. There's nothing wrong with this kid watching this abbreviated tournament for however long it lasts, seeing it first, watching the games live and in person, mm-hmm. or from wherever these non-participants must watch from, and using that experience to motivate him to want to be a part of the next experience. The Leafs have enough good players who can contribute to the greater good, and that is to win this effing thing. So it's nice. It's an interesting story, but there's really no need for him. The Leafs have plenty of Nick Robertsons on the team who need to prove not only to us, but to themselves they can stand up and achieve in a situation like this. It's a fun story. Nick Robertson's going to be a good part of this team going forward, but the idea of him supplanting someone who's already been a part of this process and who really needs to use this environment and this situation to kickstart what they're trying to do themselves, it is just it's talk, it's fun, but the Leafs don't need him right now. They don't need him other than to just soak everything up and get out of it what he can.
Well, Keefe referred to him as a wild card, and I think that's a good way to describe him, because ideally, I don't think he's going to supplant anybody to start a series against Columbus. But as a change of pace, you've seen this happen with a number of players over a number of years, that they'll call up a rookie or they'll call up somebody to shake things up, and so he's an option. But Brian Burke said it on the radio a couple days ago, and I really agree with the assessment. The fact that Robertson is a small, skilled, speedy forward amongst a team that has a plethora of small, speedy, skilled forwards. It's like, that's not really what you need to insert in the lineup. If you had somebody, I'm just using an example of somebody over the last couple of years, like a Mason Marchment, who comes in on a fourth line situation and can throw his body around. That's a change of pace. The Leafs don't have many players like that. But if you're going to add one more skilled player to an already skilled lineup, that's sort of like gilding the lily. It really doesn't make too much sense, but he is a supreme young talent. He's the best prospect in the organization up front. And if there's an option, if they need a change of pace, I think they'll exercise that.
When you were a musician, wasn't it Gilding the Lily, your solo album?
Yeah, no. Yeah.
That's what it was called, right?
Yeah.
The Gilding the Lily? You recorded in your basement.
Yeah, I played all the instruments too.
How many copies did you move?
-1.
Gilding the Lily.
Yeah.
YouTube it while you're listening to the convo. This super line, Mike. The super line. Tavares, Marner, Matthews. The super line. That sounds like another group. The super line. Those guys are literally from the time the puck drops until the time the Leafs either exit the ice for good or hoist the cup. That super line is just going to have to go mental and crazy and nuts and make things happen. The super line, it's a super line, supposed to do super things. I think it's totally super.
Well, Tyson Barrie referred to it as an all-star line, which basically it is. But I see the philosophy here that Sheldon Keefe is employing, and it's something that Mike Babcock would never do, because he was religious in terms of keeping his lines together.
Who?
Oh, yeah, I know. Basically, after TV timeouts, when the opposition has a tired forward line or a third defensive pairing out there, if you put out Tavares, Matthews, and Marner, it's a ridiculously bad matchup for them. And we know in the playoff scenario, one goal can make the difference. So Keefe has been employing that as a tactic in some of the scrimmages. When he does that, he moves Nylander to center, and it shakes up. And he's been, I think, shaking up and juggling some of the other lines, because if things don't work in a playoff scenario, he's going to shake things up. So they've played Nylander with Tavares, they've played Marner with Tavares. So I think flexibility and being accepting of change on a quick pace is something that Keefe wants to drill into his troops. And you never know, that super line on one shift in a particular game could be the difference between winning and losing.
OG's converts, which team do you think is better suited to a quick start and getting this thing on track in their favor sooner, the Leafs or the Blue Jackets? If you are in community, go ahead and leave us your thoughts there. You can also write what you're thinking below this post on YouTube. Catch us on Twitter at I am Norman James, at Mike in Buffalo. The Leafs Convo Twitter account, still in exile, Mike. Twitter's got a problem with the Leafs Convo Twitter account. And I'm getting a lot of people reaching out to me on Twitter. What did you guys do? Did you tweet out a bad link, or did you say something wrong? Did you bring up the right wing? What's going on here? All I do is use the damn thing as a platform to get people to listen to YouTube. I am immersed in car sales. I don't have the time I once did to pour through the minutia of social media and the details of the podcast to try to eke out another follower or two. So I do what I can in a very basic way to let people know that we are still alive and functioning. And I guess that pissed Twitter off, or somebody reported us who doesn't like the Leafs Convo. And this poor Twitter account is suspended. And I like to have that in my own to just, bounce out what we're doing. But the beat goes on, and I'll keep you posted as to the status of the Leafs Convo Twitter account. Before we go, Mike, John Tortorella not wanting to talk too much about his former player, Sheldon Keefe, building a bit of a wall between himself and his soon-to-be adversary across the bench at Scotiabank Arena.
This is Torts sort of, he's getting into playoff mode, just like he's trying to get his team in playoff mode. And, he basically said, he was asked a question by a Columbus reporter regarding, his relationship with Keefe, who played all of his professional career under Tortorella in Tampa Bay. And Torts basically said, I'll talk about that in Toronto. I'm not going to talk about it now and then have to talk about it then. So he was a little prickly, but that's Torts. He's always prickly with the media, and I think that's sort of getting him warmed up for the eventual playoff matchup.
Well, that was a quick last word. Appreciate that. What are you working on until we get back together on Sunday?
Well, I was going to say I'm not working on making plans to go see the Blue Jays anytime soon, because I thought it was going to be in Buffalo, but apparently they've spurned Buffalo, and now they're going to be the road warriors for 60 games. I've never seen a bigger fiasco in my life that a team, starting today is the start of the Major League season, and they don't know where they're going to play. It's just unbelievable. But daily updates on what's going on with the Leafs at hockeybuzz.com as we get closer to, like I said, the bubble, the exhibition game against the Habs, and then August 2nd, everything gets going.
The Jays mostly are a bunch of nobodies. Sure, Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette and these cats are great players, and I love them. I grew up a Jays fan, but they're mostly nobodies. And are they the ones spurning Buffalo? Are they the ones criticizing the facility for not having Major League style lighting and that they want better and bigger? Like, for God's sakes, this is just a 60-game nothing season.
Mm-hmm.
It's near Toronto. Who are you? Who are you guys to suggest that Buffalo is beneath you? If that's the case, screw them. Like, I like the Blue Jays, but if that's the case, screw them. Just play on the road the entire season. Anyway, that's my last word for now, and it'll change in like 5 minutes. Anyway, have a good one.
Thanks, Norm.